Alright, now that the honeymoon period is over, I think we need to talk about that Nintendo Direct again. I want to get out of the way, it was a very good Direct. I loved every announcement they had in there, but after reflecting on it, it was also incredibly confusing. Most of the game announcements were the highlights, and they were awesome. I loved every one, but everything else about it was just so odd and strange in so many ways. They kept bringing up things and then not elaborating it, leaving us to just figure stuff out later and make things worse. So let's just go through it again, and you'll see what I mean. I just have so many odd complaints, and I'm not the first to make this. I'm sure other people have, but I gotta vent somewhere, so you're my captive audience. The first thing I have to talk about is the extraordinary pricing on some of these Nintendo games. Tears of the Kingdom was $70, which a lot of us were shocked by. That was the first time Nintendo had ever made a more than $60 game, but that does seem to be the growing industry standard. Tears of the Kingdom was a huge game with insane replayability. It's one of Nintendo's most impressive games. So as much as I reflexively am uncomfortable by that $70 price tag, especially in this economy which, yes, inflation has gone up, but wages sure haven't, I get that to an extent. At the end of the day, these are luxury goods, so I guess take it or leave it. And again, industry standard, most AAA games are becoming $70. So I went into the Switch 2 generation assuming most of these games were also going to be $70, but then Mario Kart World's price tag was announced to be $80. I want to get this out of the way right now. Some people said the physical was $90, but that's not true. That was a separate store in, I think, euros, which listed it as $90. That's just the local exchange pricing. It's $80 across the board in US dollars. But that alone is part of the confusion, but we'll get there. I'm getting ahead of myself. $80 is crazy, and for something like Mario Kart, that is a big ask, especially before the Mario Kart Direct. So we really don't know a lot about what the game itself entails. We know that there's some new game modes and characters, but that's it. Character mount, track list, all of that is up for debate. A lot of people are listing what's available in the Switch experience as all that's there, which I feel is unfair as that's likely a demo, but at the same time, Nintendo hasn't told us. The only information we have is from these Nintendo Switch 2 experiences, so I don't blame anyone for assuming that's all the game has. Like, Nintendo showcased so much of this game, then the price, but refused to actually say directly how much is in the game until like a week from now. The Direct hasn't even happened yet. This is possibly the worst way they could have done this. Prices either shouldn't have been made public until we knew exactly what was in the game if they wanted even a chance for that price being received well, or they should have just announced everything at once. Recently, Doug Bowser in an interview did mention that this new pricing is closely linked to what they perceive as the value of the game itself. So this is them directly implying Mario Kart is worth $80, which like, that's a big ask. I don't know what the hell they could have put in this Mario Kart to make it worth $80, but they didn't even tell us what they put in there, and they're not going to for another week. They told us $80 first and then said, I promise we'll get there. What do you mean? So then a lot of us were like, okay, I guess Switch 2 games are just gonna be $80 now. But then you look at the store and Donkey Kong Bonanza, seemingly the flagship platformer for the console, is $70. So this means Nintendo is directly telling us, hey guys, Mario Kart World is a bigger game than the main platformer we're launching the console with that has an entirely destructible environment. Like, what? I haven't cursed a lot on this channel, but what the fuck? Alright, what the hell is in this Mario Kart game? Drugs? Again, I'm going to make a dedicated Mario Kart video when we get that Direct, but they've got such big shoes to fill when they are looking us in the eye and saying, hey, this Mario Kart game is worth more than any other game we've ever made before. That is directly what they are telling us here. So that's game prices, but that's not even where the confusion ends. The store page itself that we got these prices from adds so much more confusion. In the Direct, they mentioned that several Switch 1 games are going to be upgraded for the Switch 2. Think higher resolutions, better frame rates, better performance, and if you already own these games, they're releasing additional upgrade packs that you can purchase or you get free with Nintendo Switch Online, and they'll have added content akin to a DLC. The example they give give us is Mario Party Jamboree, where if you get the upgraded version, not only does it do all those performance things, but it adds more camera modes where the camera will actually track along the character, which is kind of a cute feature, and a whole new side mode, I think it was Jamboree TV, which is cool, and it gives you this whole performance thing. It's very Connect coded, where you're performing for Bowser and you're doing these specific minigames and more minigames that include the mouse mode and all this other stuff. That's cool, but some Switch One games, and they didn't say this on the Direct, some Switch One games are getting upgrades for free, like Super Mario Odyssey, ARMS, and Pokemon Scarlet Violet. Major games which are getting free updates, which I guess that means they're just getting performance enhancements, which should just be like that. Yeah, I get that. That should just be a free thing that you get, or very, very cheap at the least. But that leaves so many people with a major, major question and no answer on the horizon. If these games just have performance upgrades and are given for free, can I get those upgrades on the paid Switch 2 versions if I don't want the DLC? Like Kirby Forgotten Land. I don't really care about this DLC. It seems alright at best. So can I just get the 4K 60 FPS version of the game for free and not buy the DLC? Because it seems insane to me to lock essentially slight upreses of the games behind $10 additional DLCs. In what sane universe can they look us in the eye and go, oh, well, I know you already own this game, but we actually updated it to make it perform way better and look way prettier on the Switch 2. But if you want to play it, you need to play the DLC version that's $10 more. What are we talking about? We know they have the technology where a game card can just function like a key that downloads a version of the game to your console. They could very, very easily make these DLCs optional and make all of these games have upgraded versions. But they don't. Or are they? Because the worst part of it is that we don't know. The worst part of all of this is the uncertainty. Why don't we know any of this? Why is this a mystery to us? Sure, the console isn't out yet. I get that. We shouldn't have all the details 2 months before the console comes out, but why announce part of this if you're not going to announce all of this? Why announce these programs if you're not giving us the details? And this gets to the heart of the issue here. The Nintendo Switch 2 Direct felt like a collection of headlines without any articles. Nintendo told us the basic idea of so many features of this new generation, and some of them seem really good and interesting. The mouse mode seems fun to play with. The game share thing is a wonderful feature from the DS download play era that they're bringing back, but they didn't tell us a single detail about them, which leads everyone to just be insanely confused. Does download play mean you have to download the full version of the game to then play it, but you can only play it if somebody else initiates it? Or is it kind of like the cloud streaming, where it just unlocks a cloud service version of the game? If that's true, do you have to be connected to online to do it even when playing locally? If that's also true, can you then play a Switch 2 game on a Switch 1 console with download play? What about the whole upgrade thing I just ranted about? All of this is so insanely confusing. This whole launch so far, as hype as it is shrouded in confusion, which really stinks because I just wanted to be excited, but I'm left confused more than anything. So Nintendo, there better be some more details before June 5th, or even another Direct very soon. We shouldn't have to be figuring this out on our own, sleuthing like detectives. It shows a huge lack of courage and belief in your own product to make all of the stuff that sounds kind of bad, stuff we have to figure out on our own. And if that Mario Kart Direct does not show me the best goddamn game made in existence, you got a lot of shit to answer for. Because not only does that make the $80 price tag more ridiculous, but by your own words, every game you make that's less than $80 is less worth it than that Mario Kart game. But I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out soon. It's just so confusing. In the meantime, you've been watching RyeTwost. Of all the YouTube channels, it's the second one. Stay toasty slices. Whatever.